Graves. What's going on, man? There we go. What a crap show. At work. Always. What time is it for you? I don't remember what time zone you're in. And do you work 7 days a week, or do you just happen to work all the days that we stream? Graves is first. He's either first or late. There's no in between. There's no in between. It's one or the other. There we go. Yeah, it should be good now. I had the music, all the audio got jacked up. I was just hauling the past 10 minutes trying to get it to work. It should be good now, but let me know if it's still not. We should be normal at this point. Emoji Queen, perfect night for a Bible study. Rainy outside, wife cooking steak and tater post Sunday or post study meal. Wildcat and dog are sleeping next to me. How is life is good. How is the Wildcat doing, David? Has it gotten any less wild? Let me know if the audio is still not good. It should be what it normally is at this point. For me, it is in my ears. We're on... What did you say? I said you're either early or late. There's no in between. There's no in between. Perfect. Okay, wonderful. All right, in case you're watching this later, we have a Discord. This is the Discord. There's a link pinned to the top of the live chat. There's a link in the description of every video. We also, let me grab this right quick. Real quick. Bada boom. Okay, we do all the Bible studies on this YouTube channel, which is at Live Bible Study. And then we do all of the topic discussions at, why is this all, everything is all sorts of jacked up today, technologically. Live Bible Study at Live Bible Study on YouTube. That's what we do Sunday night and Thursday night. Yep. And then at Tattoo Theist, we do the live topic discussion where everybody votes on the topic. The voting happens in Discord. Link in the chat and the description, which we have Tuesdays figured out. So Rodriguez, who's been begging for this, what's got to be over a year, it has to be over a year, is the topic of narcogesis, which is an interesting topic and branches off into many different things that are actually extremely important things. So that won this week. So Tuesday night we'll do that, and that's on the other YouTube channel. If you come to the Discord and go to the events, you can see all of it very easy and simple. Sunday, is all the time messed up on this stuff? No. Everything's getting all sorts of messed up. This is all good though, right? This is all good. This is all good. Okay. Thursday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday for the time being. And then this weekend, I think we are going to do game night. So a resounding Saturday at 6 p.m. Central Time. We will do a game night in the Discord. It will only be in Discord. It won't be on YouTube. And we're playing Jackbox. I always forget what it's called. I'm pretty sure it's Jackbox, though. And Ghost will correct me if I'm wrong. But it's like fun party games. You log in on your phone or your tablet or your computer or whatever. And there's like murder mystery and drawing, like Pictionary type things, trivia, fun stuff like that. So if you have nothing else to do and would like to play, we will be doing that on Saturday night. And I'm excited for that. I think it'll be fun. It'll be a good time. Patricia, I was just thinking about how I've missed you today. So I'm glad Ghost said it, because I was like, man, she has not been around very much. I hope everything is going okay. So I hope everything's going okay. It's good to see you. You've definitely, it's been a noticeable absence of you. David said, still very wild that one daughter refuses to visit because the cat's that bad. Is the cat like attacking people? Is he or she violent kitten? I'll try. Graves, that would be great. Try to make it to game night. That'll be very chill. You can turn on your mic if you want. I hope people do. If you have a webcam, wonderful. It'll be a total trial and error the first time, because doing things like that through Discord is not always the simplest thing in the world. But Discord's pretty good for it. So I think if there was a platform to do it on, we're probably on the right one, in my absolutely non-professional understanding of technology. But I think it'll be fun. I found 2 packs of games that I think we're going to purchase. And then we'll just kind of decide that night what we actually want to play. But there will be options. There will be many, many options. Jackbox, yes. I think I said that. I'm pretty sure that's what I said. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited. It is a testament to having nothing you'd rather do on Saturday night than play trivia and whatnot. I am a big fan. I've also been trying to look for, and maybe this is where we all band together and start a business together. Maybe this is where the cult's first business begins. Making something like Jackbox that is theological or spiritual, exegetical, perhaps, like guess the correct context. I was trying to think of like ways to do a similar idea from a Christian purview and have it not be extremely lame, because any game I've ever seen that had a Christian connotation to it was just wildly lame, just absolutely atrociously lame. I'm going to open the voice channel because I forgot. But I think this is where we make our money. This is where we all band together. We start a company, and it is Bible trivia, theological, Pictionary, Jackbox type thing, but Christian stuff. I think we're onto something. I think we're onto something. And then, no, we'll just do that first. We'll do that first. I get a little bit carried away with ideas. Warhammer 40K is close to it. Patricia, I've missed y'all too. I've been way too busy this month. It's disturbing. We spent this weekend in Toronto. Is it weird that as I started to read, or when I saw the word tour before I started reading it, I thought you were going to say we spent this weekend in Taco Bell. And it didn't make sense in my head. And it didn't make sense with what you said, because you said Toronto. So this weekend in Toronto, trying out different foods. Had a place called Thaya tonight. Michelin star Thai food. Thai food's good stuff. Cat time snake, come for me. Christ box, bro. You are so good with that stuff. I've always thought like I was pretty quick and I was pretty witty. You are a different level of wit. You come up with that stuff so well. So well. Rodriguez, you should be in now. Doesn't have the same ring to it. I don't know. I think it's pretty good. It's the answer to Jackbox. Jesus' answer to Jackbox. I thought it was good. I thought it was good. Rodriguez, you won. You finally won.
I know. I could not believe that. I was like, no freaking way.
You won. I'm excited. I did the whole thing. It's like 30 some odd slides, so I don't even know if we'll get through all of the crap that I put together, but
okay. Then I'll shut up and I'll try to like let you get through it.
No. The conversation is way better than me giving an effing presentation. So no, for sure. I did try to strategically place awkward photos of famous pastors that I feel fit that mold. So
oh yeah,
So yeah, if you're watching that night, you'll be able to see them. If you're not, I'm just going to let it slide. But I just put headshots of pastors that are
Well, yeah, the intro one is the same guy I think we always talk about. Are we allowed to even say their names when this comes out? Like, what are the rules?
Oh yeah. No, it's on the other channel. I don't care.
Okay.
I guess let me clarify. YouTube's rules we care about because we'll get banned or they'll demonetize us or whatever. But like being pro-social, I don't care at all. Here on this channel, I want to be pro-social and I want to follow YouTube's rules.
Okay.
The
no
other
bad
one,
words.
we're good. On this one, yeah.
Okay.
On the other one, I don't care. Yeah. We learned that last time with Rick or whatever his name was, who was very offended by our language.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Sorry, Rick. Sorry, buddy. Okay. All right. Well, that'll be fun. So we'll do that Tuesday, Narca Jesus at 7 p.m. Central Time. And I did do we've kind of like got out of the habit of this. So hopefully we can get back in the habit of it. But for a long time, for those, oh, you guys did some. Okay. The podcast topics under the live stream area where the voice channel is. I'm still putting every Tuesday topic in there. So videos, articles, memes, like whatever. Anything you want shown during that live stream, we can put it here. I assume this is you. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, cool. The little, yeah. Christmas. Yeah.
So all that type of stuff or any examples of it, throw it all in there. Like we'll play it during the live. I put some good examples in my opinion, and specific examples of times pastors have enacted that behavior trait. It'll be interesting. It'll be funny if nothing else.
Yeah. Are you going to talk about like worship songs that have it too?
No, I didn't go that specific. So if you know or come across one specific one that we could kind of break down, I'd be down. Or if you have one in mind and you just want to send it to me, I'll break it down. But no, I was more like general. I picked a bunch of verses that it happens often with, pastors and their specific where they fit it, why they fit it, and reasons for how they fit it. But no, I didn't go that deep, and I think that's actually a good idea. Yeah, because that's a lot of worship music, a pretty big amount.
I know, right? Yeah, so sad.
That's a good idea. This cat grew up in the woods. After he eats, he covered up his leftover food like a lion. He is wild but sweet. He will attack if someone tries to hold him. It sounds like a cat.
Meanwhile, my dog took photos with Santa earlier.
Oh my God. Did you post those?
I'm going to.
Okay, good. I want to see that. Tag me when you do so I can see it. I definitely want to see that. We are in the midst of trying to put together a last minute Christmas card, and we were going to try to get a photo of everybody. It's just not feasible. So we're going to have to Photoshop everything together. It just cannot happen.
Yeah, my dog was going to go to the groomers and he was too anxious, so he looks really sloppy with Santa, so I was disappointed. They're going to give him Trazodone or something.
Oh my gosh, yeah. That's like what they give dogs for fireworks.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you got thug cats over there.
Thug cats. Yep. Thug cats. We have the snakes over here. It's the ark. Or you can either post those. Rodriguez, you can either post those immediately, Cat says, or just leave. Babe, just go. You can't withhold such things from us.
It says that it's too big of a file.
Just one picture? Or are you trying to upload the whole album?
Well, no, it's going to be emailed to me, I guess, in a week. It takes to get ready, but I was doing videos of the prep, but don't worry, girl.
Shoot some screenshots. Take some screenshots and at least upload those.
Of course. I have to brag about my dog. You guys know I put him in a magazine.
No, so we're going to need a picture of that also.
I know.
Okay, so do that. And then tag us. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Let's read the Bible now that we're burned a quarter of the time. Joseph's brothers returned to Egypt. And let me get this out of my ears. Okay. Now the famine was severe in the land. And when they had eaten the grain that they had brought from Egypt, their father said to them, "Go again, buy us a little food." a little food. The famine had forced Jacob or Israel to change his mind and allow Benjamin to go to Egypt with his brothers. We know that from the previous chapter, 42. But Judah said to him, the man solemnly warned us, saying, you shall not see my face unless your brother is with you. If you will send our brother with us, we will go down and buy you food. But if you will not send him, we will not go down. For the man said to us, you shall not see my face unless your brother is with you. Great, this last chapter and the chapter before, when this whole thing about the brothers staying and going, kind of acting as collateral for the deal. Several different motives, but the author's really pushing the concept, which really it signifies how important it really is to the story. And it is, and it becomes more apparent why, more than it already has been by the end of this chapter. Israel said, or Jacob said, why did you treat me so badly as to tell the man that you had another brother? They replied, the man questioned us carefully about ourselves and our kindred, saying, is your father still alive? Do you have another brother? What we told him was in answer to these questions, ourselves and our kindred. The explanation includes details not found in the son's explanation to Jacob in chapter 42. So there is a bit of a shift, and I actually want to read that part. So out of 42, it said, when Jacob learned that there was grain for sale in Egypt, he said to his sons, why do you look at one another? And he said, behold, I have heard that there is grain for sale in Egypt. Go down and buy grain for us there, that we may live and not die. So 10 of Joseph's brothers went down to buy grain in Egypt, but Jacob did not send Benjamin, Joseph's brother, with his brothers, for he feared that harm would happen to him. Thus the sons of Israel came to buy among the others who came, for the famine was in the land of Canaan. The former chapter, it was a summary. It was presented as a summary of what was to come in this chapter. So the man questioned us carefully about ourselves and our kindred, saying, is your father still alive? Do you have another brother? What we told him was in answer to these questions, could we in any way know that he would say, bring your brother down? And Judah said to Israel, his father, send the boy with me, and we will arise and go, that we may live and not die, both we and you, and also our little ones. Send the boy with me. Hebrew for boy used there. It's Nayar, used to describe Benjamin in 44, next chapter, several times. The term can refer to male from infancy, and a reference to that is out of Exodus. Direct context that makes you think that it could refer to an infant boy, all the way up to young adulthood. And the reference there is 34 out of Genesis, where the same Hebrew term is used to reference an older boy. So a pretty broad scale for what that age could be. It's not easy to nail down because of that. 9, I will be a pledge of his safety. Judah realizes that if the trip is not made, if the journey is not had, the entire clan is in danger of starving to death. They've referenced that last chapter. They referenced it here. He's offering himself at the cost of losing Benjamin on the journey. He wants to be the stand-in for the journey. From my hand you shall require him. If I do not bring him back to you and set him before you, then let me bear the blame forever. If we had not delayed, we would now have returned twice. Context. If we had not delayed, we would not have returned twice. Probably hyperbole. But if it's not, then their brother Simeon has been imprisoned in Egypt for several months. Because if we go back to 42:24, it says, then he turned away from them and wept, and he returned to them and spoke to them. And he took Simeon from them and bound him before their eyes. So could be hyperbole, but if it's not, it helps give contextual indication of the imprisonment length for Simeon. because of the earlier context out of 42, which is just interesting. And it's a good example of like how you have to connect dots and how tenuous it is. Whereas if it's hyperbole, we have no idea what's going on with Simeon. But if it is not, then we have a pretty decent idea of the imprisonment timeline in Egypt for Simeon. It's a very tenuous thing. This is why the Bible's so freaking hard to read. Oh my God, his full name is Benito Juarez Rodriguez.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to think about it, but I don't know if I've ever known someone who gave their dog a middle name. Cat, is that just, do I? You would know better than I do. You know more about what I know than I know.
Do you guys have meanings for it though?
Meanings for
Like,
a middle name?
no, like, okay, so Benito means blessed, but Benito Juarez is the first indigenous president of Mexico. And then Rodriguez, of course, is my last name, but that means descendant of powerful royalty.
Oh my God. What?
Kip's middle name is Reigns.
Put all kinds of thought
Reigns?
into it.
Okay, Cat.
From
Cat-
Gone in 60 Seconds, he was a car thief.
Cat said Kip, one of our dogs, his middle name is Reigns from a movie. Because Kip was from that movie, right?
Kip Reigns was the guy's name.
Kip,
He
okay,
had to steal 50
okay.
cars in one night, baby.
So there you go. I guess she has
Yeah,
middle names
wait,
for
is
the
it
dog too.
spelled like Rain or like Reign like King, Reign?
I don't know, Cat. You got to answer that in the chat. she walked away. Okay, so I guess it's not just me. I guess I've never thought about it. I've never been like, I want to give this dog a middle name. Now I'm gonna think about it. We're thinking about the name for the baby coming, and we're having a hard enough time with that.
Yeah,
To-
that's normal.
To think about
don't wanna use my-
middle names for dogs just makes it sounds like so much. That's so funny.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a strong name, you could say.
But you didn't do that. Well, you did that when you named your daughter, right? Because I did that with my girls, like, because names mean a lot.
Oh, for sure, but not really the middle name. I didn't really care about her middle name. Her mom picked her middle name.
Okay.
I cared about the first name, and that was definitely 100% me giving her the name Zephaniah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally believe in the name thing. That's why I'm having such a hard time right now. I feel like names, not only just like surface level matter from like kids being bullied and having to hear it so
Yeah.
often and all that stuff, but yeah, I think like a name can really impact you as a person. It shouldn't, because it's just a name. But if you assign value to it, and you know, it's people take that serious. I have a lame first name, Joseph. Come on. I mean, when you take it to the Bible, cool.
Oh, that's my dad's name.
Well, I'm right there with him. It's just like the most common freaking name in the world. But I don't think people are really naming kids Joe anymore. So yeah, I think it's a dying name. Bandit when he's good, Bandito when he's bad. See, that's good.
That's funny.
That's good. Having multiple uses of the name, I like. That's so funny. I just like read that in passing and just started laughing. Okay. Where the heck were we? I would pledge to be a safety for you. Okay. So if we had not delayed, we would now have returned twice. We talked about that context. Then 11. Then their father Israel said to them, if it must be so, then do this. Take some of the choice fruits of the land in your bags and carry a present down to the man. A little balm and a little honey, gum, myrrh, pistachio nuts, and almonds. Coming from the homeland, this list of goods and items would more than likely have an emotional impact on Joseph, which seems to be the reason that they were being brought, as well as the reason such emphasis is being put on it by the author of the text. Otherwise, who cares? It matters because it matters. So all of these things coming to Joseph from where he came from, they're hoping to elicit an emotional reaction or response from him. 12, take double the money with you, carry back with you the money that was returned in the month of your sacks. To prove their honesty, double the money with you, take double the money with you. In an attempt to prove their honesty, the brothers decide to return with the original payment plus a new payment for the grain on principle to prove a point. appearances. Carry back with you the money that was returned in the month of your sack, in the mouth of your sack. Sorry, in the mouth of your sack. Perhaps it was an oversight. Take also your brother and arise. Go again to the man. May God Almighty grant you mercy before the man, and may he send back your other brother and Benjamin. And as for me, if I am bereaved of my children, I am bereaved. So the men took this present, and they took double the money with them and Benjamin. They arose and went down to Egypt and stood before Joseph. When Joseph saw Benjamin with them, he said to the steward of his house, which says a lot right there. He said, bring the men into the house and slaughter an animal and make ready. For the men are to dine with me at noon. He said to the steward of his house, or to the one who was over his household, depending on translation. The Hebrew title that was used, Asher al Betho, Asher al Betho. I'm gonna put this down here in case anyone wants to look it up. Is also used in chapter 44:1 and 44:4. Getting this from Logos, was used for Joseph when he was a slave in the house of Potiphar, which is just interesting because we have an idea of what his position was. Hold on. Something is like beeping. Something is still beeping. That's going to drive me absolutely insane. Kat, do you know what is beeping behind in this room? Kat, help. His literal slave name. I had to try to remember. So the context is important because it helps us get a better understanding of what he was doing. And now, because of who his steward is and what that steward is now doing, we get kind of a broader understanding of the term and how the term was being used and what Joseph's place would be. What is that? Oh, baby girl, can you please destroy that piece of hardware as fast as possible? I was very quickly losing my mental stability.
I thought it was the thermostat.
No, it was too weird of a beep. Thank you very much.
I'm slower.
I'm so glad you're here. I love you.
I love you.
Okay, so just it's very interesting because we get a broader understanding. It's some of the weird things that if you take the time to be like, oh, that's the same term. Now go back to where that term was used first, gather context, then come back here, gather context, and now you have more context. You get a greater understanding of what's actually being said and what's going on. Brazilian nuts. Mikkel, good to see you. Yeah, Mikkel, makes my mouth and throat itch something. Are you allergic to them?
Yeah, him and my daughter have the same allergy. That's so weird.
Really? My dad is like definitely allergic to some kind of nuts. I don't remember what kind.
Because you mentioned pistachios earlier, and that's why.
The pistachio nuts. Okay. This is all coming together. The Wildcat's name is Guapo because he looks like me.
That means handsome. That's hilarious.
Guapo. That's hilarious. Okay. 17. The man did as Joseph told him and brought the men to Joseph's house. Joseph also told them to slaughter an animal and have it ready because they were all going to dine together. And the men were afraid because they were brought to Joseph's house. And they said, it is because of the money, which was replaced in our sacks the first time that we are brought in, so that he may assault us and fall upon us to make us servants and seize our donkeys. So they think they're about to get got because they're being brought into the quarters with Joseph. Little do they know what we know, that that's not why they're being brought in. But it said the men were afraid because they were brought to Joseph's house. So they have this fear coming in. The brothers are experiencing this fear because they are being singled out of everybody else who is out there to purchase the grain. So to them, perspective-wise, it makes sense why they would feel fear. they believe that Joseph knows about what happened with the money prior, and that they are in a vulnerable position and will now be punished. They believe that they're going to have their donkey seized. They believe that they're going to be made to be servants because of what they had done. 19. So they went up to the steward of Joseph's house and spoke with him at the door of the house and said, "O my lord, we came down the first time to buy food. And when we came to the lodging place, we opened our sacks, and there was each man's money in the mouth of his sack, our money in full weight. So we have brought it again with us, and we have brought other money down with us to buy food. We do not know who put our money in our sacks." He replied, "Peace to you. Do not be afraid. Your God and the God of your father has put treasure in your sack for you. I received your money." Or, "Your money came to me."
Hey, Joe,
Yes.
can you just put the screen down so that we can see the verses that you're reading off of?
Yes, done. Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry, thanks.
You guys got to yell at me immediately. I always forget to do that. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so we are at just finished 23. Just finished 23. Is that big enough too? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Finishing 22. So he said, "I received your money," or "your money came to me." This is the steward replying. So the steward's reply from Logos indicates he was privy to Joseph's plan. So he was in the know. He knows what Joseph was doing. He was not an ignorant participant in the plan. He knew what was up. As he does, he's releasing sin. Actually, we'll come back to that. Yeah, we'll come back to that. Okay, so the steward, he's in on the plan. He understands what's happening. They're freaking out about the money. He's trying to calm them down. Like, "No, we received your money. There's no problem, no fear." Joseph is obviously still not here. It's just them and the steward. Then he brought Simeon out to them, Simeon who had been incarcerated. And when the man had brought the men into Joseph's house and given them water, and they had washed their feet, and when he had given their donkeys fodder, they prepared the present for Joseph's coming at noon, for they had heard that they should eat bread there. When Joseph came home, they brought into the house to him the present that they had with them, and bowed down to him to the ground. And he inquired about their welfare and said, "Is your father well, the old man of whom you spoke? Is he still alive?" Obviously asking because this is his father as well. And this will all come together in the dramatic exchange to come. 28. They said, "Your servant, our father, is well. He is still alive." And they bowed their heads and prostrated themselves. And he lifted up his eyes and saw his brother Benjamin, his mother's son, and said, "Is this your youngest brother of whom you spoke to me? God be gracious to you, my son." Benjamin is Joseph's only actual full brother. This is only full brother. "God be gracious to you, my son." Joseph is probably still using an interpreter at this point. This is also, if you remember in 42, where that was the case, where it said they did not know that Joseph understood them, for there was an interpreter between them. Because when they had the first interaction, the brothers were speaking, and what they believed was something unintelligible to Joseph, because they don't know who he is. They think he's Egyptian. Little did they know Joseph understood them the entire time. It's likely we're in a similar situation here, where Joseph is probably still using an interpreter. He's probably still there. However, he can fully grasp and understand what's being said. Up to this point in the narrative, he has not said anything like this to any of the brothers. "God be gracious to you, my son." It's the first kind of break of character for Joseph, the moving of the facade. Then Joseph hurried out, for his compassion grew warm for his brothers, and he sought a warm place. He sought a place to weep. He sought a warm place to weep. The Hebrew idiom, which I'm going to butcher, so I'm going to put it in the chat. Nehemiah Rachamayawa. I don't even know. This one's way above
Yeah,
my
that's
head.
all you. Yeah.
Yeah, rough. But you could go. It's a Hebrew idiom. What it means is his mercies became heated. His mercies became heated. It occurs elsewhere only in 1 Kings 3:26, which says, because I thought this was kind of interesting. 1 Kings 3:26. Then the woman whose son was alive said to the king, because her heart yearned for her son, O my lord, give her the living child, and by no means put him to death. But the other said, he shall be neither mine nor yours, divide him. The context there, it suggests love in a sense. It suggests compassion, understanding, care. I just thought that was interesting. So it's an old Hebrew idiom. Something maybe look up and see where it appears outside of the Bible. Would be an interesting thing to do. He sought a place to weep, and he entered his chambers and wept there. Then he washed his face and came out, and controlling himself, he said, serve the food. They served him by himself, and them by themselves, and the Egyptians who ate with him by themselves, because the Egyptians could not eat with the Hebrews, for that is an abomination to the Egyptians. There's a bit there. So serve the food. Logos said this, and I thought it was interesting. So Joseph hosts a meal for his brothers. This is an ironic echo of how his brothers had callously sat down to eat and debate his fate after throwing him into the pit. That's a great connection. It's something that I had never really considered before, but it's totally accurate. So
He's doing a lot of mind.
Oh, 100%. 100%. But like,
I don't blame him.
Right, exactly. He's you're mad, you're bitter. I think he was trying to work through it. It's totally understandable. So Genesis 37:25, which is where they had sat down to discuss his fate. It said, they sat down to eat, and looking up, they saw a caravan of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead, and their camels bearing gum, balm, and myrrh, and their way to carry it down to Egypt. And this was their preparation for what they were going to do for Joseph. Now you have the tables, in a sense, flipped, where now Joseph is kind of still deciding what he's going to do with his brothers. So it said, they served him by himself, and them by themselves, and the Egyptians who ate with him by themselves. It says, Joseph ate alone because he is a member of the political elite, which makes sense with a lot of the stuff we've talked about in the previous weeks. The other Egyptians eat apart from Joseph's brothers because of the extremely divided cultural superiority. There was a split. There was a racial divide.
You can't sit with us type thing.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. It's the school lunchroom or a prison mess hall. Everything is just very much divided by race more than anything else, but religion was a factor, and culture just in and of itself was obviously a factor. 33. And they sat before him, the firstborn according to his birthright, and the youngest according to his. Joseph likely arranged the brothers this way to throw them off. To Logos used the word mystify, which I like. Is a good word for it. So they were sat out before him according to his birthright, and the youngest according to his youth. It's just an interesting way to do that. So point proven. And the men looked at one another in amazement. Portions were taken to them from Joseph's table, but Benjamin's portion was 5 times as much as any of theirs. So Joseph may want to see whether his favoritism of Benjamin, who is obviously favored by Jacob, would provoke a jealous response from the brothers. So he's pushing them. He's pushing buttons. He's testing them. He's setting them up to see how they're going to react or respond. And they drank and were merry with him. The Hebrew verb used there, shakar, is a common word for drunkenness. So this happens numerous times in the Old Testament.
Oh, duh.
Where, but where like the English translations, they
water it down for sure.
We water it down. They were drunk. They were getting
because they're uncomfortable with it. But
right. Well, because then you have to. Well, what about in the New Testament where it says you can't get drunk? Yeah, they could. They did all kinds of crap they were supposed to do. Most of the Old Testament is them getting reprimanded for doing things they're not supposed to do.
That part.
100%. So I just wanted to point that out because this is where everybody needs to be honest and understand. This is just called lying to me. This is the translators lying to you. The Hebrew term is extremely clear. It's used numerous other places and outside of the Bible, and it's very specific to drinking in excess. So that's the term. They drank and were merry. No, they got drunk together.
Yeah.
Is
So
what
when
it
I
is.
message you guys Merry Christmas with a wink, you'll know what's up.
That's exactly right. Okay. So 44, we're gonna wait and do next week because I have a hard out at the end of the hour. So if you guys have anything else, we can run into something else. Otherwise, reminder again, Tuesday, we're doing Narcojesus on the other YouTube channel. And every Tuesday's podcast topic is found in the folder. So if you want something brought up, why don't I pull up what this even is real quick? Just in case you are too lazy to Google it.
Preface, yeah.
Yeah, let's do that just super fast. 1 second. All right. So here you go. And actually, I want to add the got questions to my slideshow. So Narcojesus is a word of fairly recent coinage that has not yet found its way into dictionaries. Oh, let me move that. There you go. When people use the word, they are referring to a process of interpreting scripture in a highly personal or even selfish way. I'm not going to read all of this. We'll go over some of it on Tuesday. But it's essentially the way that I see it and what we're going to talk about very pigeonholed is eisegesis, narcojesus or narcigesis, and exegesis. These are the three. I think they encompass every possible way you can interpret the Bible. Eisegesis, meaning you read into the text, where you see things the way you want them to be seen in the text. Exegesis is when you pull from the text, regardless of how you feel about it. The text is what the text says because of context and because of historical accuracy and because of this and because of that. And even if it makes you very uncomfortable, that's how you need to read it. That's exegesis. That's what people should actually be doing. You're taught all of this in seminary, just nobody practices it. So eisegesis is reading into the text. Exegesis is reading from the text, which is accurate. Narcigesis is when you practice eisegesis, but you're also kind of a narcissist. We see it a lot with mega church pastors, which is why I made the thumbnail what I made the thumbnail. If you don't recognize him, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not going to spoil it for you.
It's rooted in like covert narcissism. Like I had to learn about that, which is like a nice narcissist, which it's weird, but it's like it's a thing.
It's humble narcissism is how I've always said it.
It's like, look at me. I fed, so many people in homeless ministry and
it's people who they express or convey that they're like a humble, loving pastor or Christ-centered. It doesn't have to be a pastor, but a Christ-centered person when actually like all you're doing is seeking validation. You want fame and glory. You're the opposite of humble, but you have a way about you of projecting humility, at least to people who are low IQ, is how I'd say it, to be a jerk. The way Joe said it makes me think of pastors selling booger sugar, right? Well, we talk about it. And in the slideshow, I have strategically placed headshots and fun pictures of people. And I don't say a word about it. And I'm not going to. So you have to be watching. But you'll see many faces that you probably recognize. We've talked about many of them. Altruistic narcissist. There you go. That's decent with like what I was talking about. That's definitely the part of like, I fed all the homeless. I do this, I do that, I do this. But there's also the humble pastor who preaches to 50,000 people, but just projects humility really well to the untrained eye. And so everybody thinks they're humble and like loving, but all they're doing is showboating, one-lining. They're not actually teaching anything. And they're giving you the motivational speeches based
And they
on
never
nothing.
think they're wrong, which is like a big thing with narcissists. They never think they're wrong. They're perfect in everything they say or do. They'll gaslight you and to make you think it's you. And yeah.
Right, right. The thing that I've never understood is, and without like getting too much into this, but is how someone like, let's use Joel Osteen, because there's no defense of that man. Someone like Joel Osteen, and we have all of these wildly intelligent biblical scholars all over the world, but the US has tons of them. Why in the hell does biblical scholarship as a group come together and be like, hey, we completely disown this. This is not Christian. He's not preaching the gospel. Because there's a line of like Baptist verse Protestant verse, whatever. Same gospel for the most part, like whatever. But when you get to like the Joel Osteen or the Kenneth Copeland, when you get to
We call him
these
Kenneth Copeland.
Kenneth
That's what
Copeland,
those came up with. Yeah.
that's pretty good. When you get to those guys though, it's there's no defense of it. Like you're preaching a different religion. It's a different religion. You're not actually reading the Bible. Like it's the upper limit of narcigesis. You're eisegeting instead of exegeting, and you're doing it in the most narcissist possible way. I've never understood why scholarship at least doesn't come together and be like, we're not gonna be a part of this. We're not gonna be quiet about this. If you care about the actual gospel, which you should, this is to be avoided. We disown this as Christian people. Never understood it. Mikkel said, don't know why Batman's Joker comes to my mind when I see a picture of Joel Osteen. I kind of get that, actually. He's got that Weasley little face.
Well, it changed recently. He had like Botox or something, and he looks way different.
Did he really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, since we have a few minutes, I guess we'll take a look. Joel Osteen.
Yeah, if you look at like, I don't know, 1990 pictures of Joel Osteen versus like today. Yeah, he's definitely had eye lift. Yeah, so those are the older ones.
So
or maybe that is no.
How old is this man?
You can kind of see the eye lift.
61 years old. I could see a little bit of a difference, maybe. Yeah, just looking through those plastic surgery.
And most definitely his wife. Yeah, they all have.
Oh, I'm sure his wife. Yeah, he has some epic teeth. I'm sure they're not his at this point. I'm sure he's got veneers.
The guy, I think I told you about the top 2 highest paid Nevadans over here. One of them is one of the mega pastors, and yeah, he has nothing but veneers. So just in case you're wondering where your tithes go.
Oh my God, yeah. That and his Rolls Royce, and it makes me sick.
I don't know how they sleep at night. Yeah, between them and those CEOs of, so yeah.
It's the worst. It's the worst. 8 of the richest pastors and televangelists of 2024. I'd just like to see like the top. TD Jakes makes the slideshow. All right, so Joel Osteen is number 2. Kenneth Copeland coming in at number 1 with $300 million stolen from unintelligent people. That's so sad because a lot of them, I don't know. I just like to think people really, in a lot of cases, are doing the best they can, and they're paying for hope. And it's just like, with all due respect, I hope this man burns in hell for all of eternity, because these people prey on people who are emotionally unstable, going through hard times. They're paying for hope, because that's what they're selling. They're selling a false bill of hope. Joel Osteen at age 61, estimated net worth of $100 million. That's actually kind of weak. It's less than I would think. I wonder how accurate this is. Benny Hinn, another heretical a-hole, 60 million at age 71. Our boy Stephen Furtick. Oh, junior. I didn't know he was a junior. That makes me dislike you even more. Age 44. Estimated net worth 60 million. Disgusting.
He looks scary to me. I don't know why.
It's the funniest thing though, when you go through these guys and you catch Kenneth Copeland's got the best ever take on video of him looking like a literal demon. I did a
Yeah.
video on it in the past. I think we watched it during a live stream once too, but wild. If you never seen that, just Google Kenneth Copeland, airplanes full of demons. And he gets approached by a journalist. And she's like, is it true that you said you won't fly commercial because you don't want to be trapped in a tube or something full of demons? And he's nice for a minute and she keeps pushing him. And he like bars his teeth. His eyes are like red and bloodshot and all wide. It is literally demonic looking and it will make you shudder in your seat. Joel Osteen has similar things where he just seems completely demonic. He, on so many talk shows, has been asked questions about Jesus, and the way that he has danced around answering the questions, because he knows that he needs to appease such a broad scope of people. Everything needs to be okay. Everything needs to be biblical. Watching those interviews just makes me want to throw up because he has no principles. He has no values whatsoever. He believes in nothing other than appeasing as many people, butts and seats, as humanly possible to keep making that money. Benny Hinn is the same. Stephen Furtick is similar. Stephen Furtick at least is able to like emit pretty good charisma. I understand why a lot of people like him, but he's had his moments too, with Scandal and where he's looked pretty,
Really?
oh yeah. Yeah, Google it.
I'm with
His
you for that.
church
Yeah.
had I believe if I remember correctly, it was finance related, which shouldn't be surprising, but they were having some there was some missing finance aspect or I don't want to say embezzlement because I don't remember well enough, but it was something to do with their finances. Which is
That's how
actually
he afforded that $4,000 sweater.
oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. He was kind of buddy with the pastors of the church I was at when I was in the mega world. And what happened to his church, I think, was similar to what I started seeing at the church that I was at. Andy Stanley, which is disappointing because for a long time,
No, I love him.
yeah, look deeper. I like a lot of his stuff. I have books. I've read them. I'll continue to read them because they're good books. He's done a lot of really good teaching and stuff. But he has over the years kind of shifted to appeasement rather than being stern. But I don't think it would be fair at all to compare Andy Stanley to any of the previous men in any way.
No,
Very
because I feel
different
like
level.
he grew up kind of like how I did, strict. I love his dad. I met his dad, and he saw how like hardcore the religiousness got, and so he was trying to kind of go away from that. And Creflo Dollar, his name gives that away.
Yeah. No, I agree about Stanley. Not even comparable to the previous men. Rick Warren. There's some good in there too, though.
Yeah, I think his son committed suicide, right?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's sad. Yeah, I did not know that.
I'm too nice, so I'm gonna be quiet because I just I feel kind of bad.
Well, this isn't like a list of bad pastors. It's a list of highest net worth pastors. TD Jakes makes our slideshow on Tuesday. I'm not a fan. Obviously, he's put out some good stuff, but he doesn't really stand firm on a lot of beliefs, and he's done many sermons teaching things at the very least from practicing eisegesis, if not narcigesis.
You got to mention that Hillsong guy, not the Australian one, but the one that was over in New York or whatever.
Yeah,
I forgot his name.
What was his name? Because I think the one with the issues with his wife, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because I did a video on that when it happened, which I think was
Did you really?
2 or 3 years ago. Yeah, it was when I was in the phase. Yeah, right. Yes, yeah. It was like when I had quit YouTube, but then would randomly do videos here and there. It was Carter, wasn't it?
It was Lentz.
Oh, Lentz.
Carl Lentz.
Yes. Yeah, I did a video on that when it happened. Yeah, I'll have to add some Carl Lentz. I tried to not make it like people who have just had outward obvious scandals, because that's not really what it's about. I wanted like specific sermon examples of them preaching from that perspective. And I've never listened to Carl Lentz, so I'd have to do some searching to find one, but I'm sure that I can.
Oh, Mikkel watched the documentary. Yeah, you got to watch that documentary, Joe. There's a documentary literally about him. I think it's on Hulu, and it's all of like his narcissism and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. The Secrets of Hillsong.
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay. All right. I'll shoot it over to Kat so she reminds me. Wait, where is on Hulu?
I
Okay.
think so.
Well, good.
Or
We have the Hulus.
Prime.
We have that too. I don't know who any mainstream pastors are anymore, Ruth. That means you are washed clean. You are living in grace, my love. I honestly don't know any of these except Osteen, Nopeland, and Hinn. It's understandable. Andy Stanley, I used to listen to him. Yeah, he's got a lot of good stuff. He has several books that I've read numerous times. Every couple of years, I'll burn through a few of them because they're just very, very good books. Yeah, I got to watch the documentary. Shouldn't we be focusing on scholars instead of showboating pastors? I agree. We're just killing time right now. Just totally killing time right now.
No, the issue that I've always had is I feel like when we have discussions, we're pretty big on kind of pointing out issues and corruption in the world, where I feel like there needs to be a lot more introspection, because it's one of those, plank in your eye type things, like the church is so filthy and we need to get that cleaned up, I think, before we even start discussing things that are going on in the culture and whatnot. I don't know. That's just
I don't disagree. I think it's tough because like the thing I care the most about is like the academic side, because I think that everything should stem from that, but I don't think that it does. I think the culture has to be fixed first, and then I think academia will care from there. I just kind of look at it like, and
but we have to be trustworthy. So like
right.
and Gen Z has the least favorable view of Christians than any other generation in history. And we did that. We, the
For sure.
church, did that.
For sure. That's why I think culture needs to come first. I kind of look at it like science. Like culture has kind of, without getting into anything at all, culture has kind of influenced science to do science for certain outcomes. Science will promote things, science, like quote unquote science, not all scientists on the planet, because there's still disagreement and whatever, but like general scientific communities will post truths of the world and of things based on what culture is caring about at the time. And then when culture shifts, we see sometimes science is like, oh, actually, this thing. So I wonder if culture and Christianity needs to shift first to put pressure on academia to be like, oh, yeah, we were kind of full of crap. And this is more in line with what the actual history of the Bible is. Like the verse tonight with just be honest. They got drunk. The word was drunkenness. There's no way to argue it. You are just lying to everybody. I think if Christianity as a culture was like, the Bible's got stuff that isn't always happy. It's not always going to make us feel good. We're going to wrestle with it. Now, if drunk is in there, well, we got to make that make sense with the New Testament, where you're not supposed to get drunk, which is really easy to do. So it's really no problem. But I think if culture really pushed all that, like accuracy is important, regardless of how we feel. Accuracy is important, regardless of if it makes us lose a portion of the demographic, because that's fine. In losing that portion of the demographic, we will bring in and usher in a new portion of demographic, which would be Gen Z, who values honesty, and they value just being told the truth, regardless of how it makes them feel or anything like that. But I agree in like a broader scope, Ghost, where scholarship who does that is super icky, because I think that washes down to then the pastors, and it gives the weak pastors, like we were just talking about, kind of free reign to practice poor exegesis or practice eisegesis. It gives them the foothold to do so. Yeah, but I don't know which one's more important. I'm honestly very much on the line. I don't know if culture decides academia or if academia decides culture, but I'm more leaning towards culture is more impactful.
I think wherever it is, whatever direction we're supposed to go that God leads us, that's where we go. And it may not all be the same direction just because we're different parts of the body. We all have our different areas of strengths and weaknesses and callings. So
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, thank God, because then it means some people go one way and some people go the other way. Clean out both. I just think the whole thing needs to be metaphorically burned to the ground and just restarted. And I think we're kind of in the process right now. I've talked about it before. I think we're in the burning phase at the moment, and it's going to burn to ashes. And I think everybody's going to splinter off and do things kind of like we're doing. And there will be small churches here and there. And then I think eventually people will gather again and be like, hey, we've kind of reset. We have a better grip on how this should be done. And then maybe physical churches will become more of a thing again. But I see it as kind of like it's like a financial reset where you have to go into a recession and you have to bleed through the recession before financial stability can be reignited. I think we're in the recession right now of Christianity. That's my
there's
2 cents.
hardcore portion of scripture. I think it's like a couple chapters in Ezekiel, like Ezekiel 7, 8, and 9, maybe those chapters, where it's basically like God, well, massacring everybody in the temple because of their horrific corruption. And yeah, but he starts from the inside out.
Yeah, I think it's the only way. I think
Yeah.
it's the only way. I don't know if us putting pressure on the church would really change anything. I don't know if us putting pressure on academia would really change anything. I think it needs to play out. I think they need to fail. Academia needs to realize, oh, now our seminaries are empty. Nobody wants to get an MDiv. Nobody wants to go get a degree in theology. Maybe we need to do something different. And I think the same for church. Like, no matter how much you lie to them, nobody will sit in the seat and give you a tithe. So you have to now go work a landscaping job, Mr. Pastor. I think it's the only way. I pray to God it happens, I think it's the only way that we get the reset. I just wonder how long it's going to take.
Yeah, Gen Z with their TikToks and all these documentaries that are coming out. It's happening.
I did a short on Gen Z a couple days ago, just like some of the data, and it's 100% true. Yeah, they're avoiding church. They are looking more for spiritual guidance from smaller groups, similar things to like what we do here through social media, online means, and also, which was encouraging to see, their parents and people who are older that they respected. So they're seeking these small interactions versus going to the church because they feel that they're being lied to. And that can only go on so long before churches are just full of old people. So it's just a matter of time. Landscaping pastor. Well, when I left the church, I went to work. I guess I worked as a personal trainer first, but then I went into contracting. So I figured landscaping would be another good one because no pastor wants to go do landscaping after you've had cushy pastoral gigs of writing a sermon.
That. They need to go to jail, Joe. So their stuff is criminal activity. If they're embezzling, that's a relief that it's not,
not the criminals.
Stuff.
Of course, the criminals should go to jail, and then their occupation will be something else that we're not going to speak of here. I just mean like bad pastors, not like the criminal ones. The pastors who didn't actually get educated and yet think they should be preaching to people. They just don't care, right? Like you can't say that as a pastor of even 50 people at a church. If you're not constantly educating yourself and rethinking your beliefs and like furthering everything, and delivering things honestly, and if you don't know, being honest about not knowing, if you're not doing that, you're not criminal, but you shouldn't be a pastor. So I hope their church dies. I hope the people find somewhere good to go in a small group or whatever. And I hope that pastor gets to go dig trenches for a landscaping company. The criminals, I would love to see in jail. Yeah, 100%. No doubt. But the people who create the problems will never be the ones to truly fix it. No. Absolutely not. No, they are a part of the ashes, my friend. They need to metaphorically burn to the ground with the church as an institution. And people who do not want to be leaders will rise into leadership. That is that would be my ideal scenario, where the people who don't want the control are the ones who get the control. The angels in the garden were landscaping pastors. When my dad
I just
quit being a minister, his first job was selling shoes. There you go. There you go.
yeah.
I was a trainer at an all women's boot camp. What were you gonna say?
No, I think the part that just hurts like my heart is like the congregation who watches, you know, their pastors being taken away in handcuffs or their face plastered all over the news because of a corruption like that. That messes with you, you know?
For sure. For sure. But hopefully they seek something else. And if nothing else, hopefully it's a kick in the butt of like, maybe I need to reevaluate what I was finding value in, where I was getting my information from. And then hopefully, you know, that leads them to something else, whether it's an online group
They go
or
to Islam. They go other places.
well,
That's what concerns.
some for
me.
sure. I
Yeah.
don't know if those people can be saved though. If because a pastor slept with someone who's not his wife or something like that, if all of a sudden you're like, I guess Allah is the thing, then you're kind of hopeless to begin with. Could have been anything, I guess is what I mean. It could be anything that would completely throw you
Yeah.
off track. But I blame the pastor for that. If the pastor had built them up properly and had like laid a real foundation for what they believe, why they believe it, how to defend it because they believe it, then even if something happens with them, you'd struggle, but you're probably not going to go start laying on a mat and praising Allah. Some probably would though. But like those weak people are always going to exist. Nothing against them, but like weak people exist, whether we like it or not. Cat doing being the YouTube czar. What was that?
I wouldn't say they're weak. I'll just say vulnerable. Like I get it.
Sure, fair. Weak's probably not the best way to express that. Bruce said yes, he did well until they said he wasn't filling the quota of selling. Then he became a Pizza Hut delivery driver, then became manager until he suffered a stroke. Wow,
Oh no.
that's very sad. The quota, he wasn't selling enough shoes. Come on, bro. What a
He was probably being honest.
He was probably being honest, yeah. That's
Seriously.
probably exactly what was happening. Yeah, but see, like that, I've felt so much better working in, and I work 1,000 times harder, and it's no fun at all. But I feel 1,000 times better doing what I do now, helping people in the context that I do now, getting to talk to random people about things that I believe now than I ever felt when I was acting as a pastor and being paid for it. I did not feel good about it. Dad still filled in at different church pulpits. Yeah, which I love that. I love like, hey, will you come speak here? A couple, I guess more than a couple years ago now, but Kat and I drove to Minnesota because I got to speak at a conference, and like that was really cool. That I think is good. And it's like guest speaking at a church, cool, awesome. But getting your paycheck from something else and making that actually just service, like you're here to serve, I think it just feels better for me. But I pastors who make their living doing that, I think is totally fine. I don't see any problem with it at all. It just wasn't right for me, at least in that phase of life. Okay, any last, what are they called? Burning desires. And then I have to roll and get ready for the week. While I wait, in case anybody has anything. Tuesday, Narcigesus. Very good. 7 p.m. Central Time on the other YouTube channel. And then Thursday, we should absolutely finish the Epic of Gilgamesh unless we really chat for some reason, which would be totally fine. But if we don't, then we should finish that. And then next week, we'll go back to the Book of Giants. If you ever have suggestions for something to read on Thursday, so either an apocryphal text, Sumerian, Mesopotamian, Egyptian, something that contextually makes sense for us to read to help us have a better understanding and be able to be more educated on the Bible, I'm down for it. So if you guys just want to send those in or give them to somebody else to give to me, then I'll put them in rotation. Sundays are just going to be the Bible for the next 30 years, reading a chapter or two from chronological beginning to chronological end. And I don't think we're ever going to change that. I think that'll be tried and true, stiff and steady. Okay. All right. Anything else? Otherwise, Have a lovely night. I expect to see the dog, Rodriguez. I would like to see that.
I will.
Okay, good. I'm very
I
excited
put one
for this.
pickup right now in the
Okay,
pet section.
perfect. Perfect.
Bye, y'all. Have a blessed night.
Yeah, have a good night, guys. I love you. Love you, love you. Do the YouTube stuff. Help us out.
Oh,
do the YouTube stuff. Love you guys. All right. I'm actually shutting it off. I love you guys. Have a good night.